Exactly how challenging is the new endgame in Monster Hunter Rise 2.0? Are we talking 10 out of 10 Dark Souls no weapon no armor difficult, or are we talking Animal Crossing with no Tom Nook easy? Proper difficulty balancing for an action RPG such as this is a huge importance for me, because that's what makes crafting all those gnarly weapons and uncomfortable armors all the more worthwhile when they are chipping away at a daunting challenge on the horizon. Although Rise is my favorite Monster Hunter, mostly because I really like its core combat mechanics, I really would like to actually fail some quests from time to time, since the base game was fairly easy, at least if you've played Monster Hunter before. So do these new endgame monsters in 2.0 pose a challenge similar to Iceborne's Master Ranks, or are they just marginally harder than Rise's normal Rank 7 quests? Well, let's just get right on into analyzing all that, while I also show off some of the new stuff this big update has added. First, that awkwardly low Hunter Rank 7 cap has been unlocked, and I got my rank up to 41 in one long evening last night, but it seems like the new cap is 999. When working your way through the new ranks, new monsters have been added, along with Apex monster variants that, thank the Dango, can now be fought in regular hunts instead of just during a Rampage quest. That one new element is the real standout feature for me that I really wanted to try out, since the Apex monsters seem to be the plan for the future endgame. So of course, the first fight I sought out was the Apex Arzuros hunt to see how beefy these Apex monsters are out in the wild. This was a great warm-up fight, and the Apex Arzuros hit pretty hard, but most importantly had a really high health pool, making this Apex fight feel more like an endurance battle. Also, Apexes can't be captured during these quests as far as I could tell, nor do traps even work on them. This Arzuros carded me once with a super nice mid-air wombo combo, and I wasn't even mad, I was impressed. Good kill. This wasn't a controller melting difficult fight, nor was it too easy either, just more of a well-designed fun fight that made me excited for more Apex variants later. After returning to town, I decided I should probably level up my current armor set thanks to the new upgrade cap being raised. Then after doing 2 other quests against older monsters, I then unlocked some new higher tier Petalices, which have a higher cap for collecting all those endemic life buffs. I then checked out the new layered armor system, which lets you craft any armor you have unlocked to use as a skin over your main armor. This uses a new outfit voucher which you earn after completing a quest, and sometimes materials from the associated monster. I have always wanted a layered armor system exactly like this, because my armor builds always seem to be the ugliest combos known to mankind, and I'm super stoked we can now look visually cool and statistically cool at the same time. There's also a similar layered armor system for your Catter and Doggo as well, who also got a big buff in this update, unlocking their new max level now up to 50. After a few other hunts, I reached Hunter Rank 20, which unlocked the next tier of quests, and I crafted myself one of the brand new sword and shields this patch added. The upgraded version of this ninja sword has a pretty crazy 100% affinity, and overall for my first crafted weapon from this update, it's a unique design just because there is no visible shield for this sword and shield weapon type. This makes it feel more like you're using just a one-handed sword while bashing monsters in the face with your meaty forearm. I then went to test out this bad boy against a brand new monster, Chameleos. This fight was probably among my favorites in the entire game because Chameleos does some really unorthodox stuff. First, it can go semi-invisible or completely invisible for a short period of time. It can also release a hazy fog in the area, which further helps obscure where it's at. There was actually one moment where I had no idea where the darn thing had gone as it disappeared right in front of me. That was pretty cool. Chameleos can also temporarily steal some of your stat buffs off of you, but with enough damage you can yoink those things right back. Also, its poison degen can be fairly deadly if you don't immediately cure it. Overall, not a super difficult fight, didn't manage to cart me once, but still above average compared to the main quests in Rise. This fight gets big bonus points from me though for the monster's well-constructed moveset, design, and shake-up to Rise's core monster combat formula. Now back at town, checking out one of the new armor sets just added in this update. This one is made from those Chameleos bits we just harvested, and it comes with a pretty interesting new skill, Chameleos Blessing. Another new thing in this update are some new decorations, which most are skills you could usually find on armor or talismans before, but it's a welcome addition to be able to add some of these skills now via decorations. Now to get to the next main tier of quests, I had to hit Hunter Rank 30, so I ventured out into 2 Rampage quests to take on the new Apex Rathalos and Apex Diablos. Honestly, I can't tell too much of a difference between monsters when doing Rampage mode, so not much to say about those two, but I will be much more into fighting those during regular quests. After hitting HR 30, it's now time to take on Kushala Daora. This was another solid new monster addition to Rise, and I didn't care too much for this fight in World, but enjoyed this version of Kushala much more. The fight is less about being annoyed by the wind, and more about traditional evasion so that you don't get blasted to death by it. Kushala does this gigantic sucking in whirlwind attack that I didn't get hit by sadly, because I'm kind of intrigued how much damage that would have done. Next time I fight it, I'll test it for science. Kushala carded me once with a mid-air juggle, which seems to be the #1 way these new monsters are taking me down. Overall, not as memorable as the fight against Chameleos, but still a really enjoyable battle. After that quest, the next Hunter rank milestone is reaching HR 40 to take on Teostra. This fight was filled with plenty of AoE explosives that were actually pretty easy to dodge with Evade Extender 3, but with some of the other weapon types, I could see those being more detrimental than it was for the high mobility of the Sword and Shield. Teostra didn't manage to cart me on this one, and I found this to be one of the easier fights of the new batch, but again, these are still decently harder than the base game fights in Rise. More free Monster Hunter is always a good thing, so it's difficult to be too elitist critical on this. So that pretty much wraps up most of the new content added in the 2.0 update. It was pretty beefy, and there are other new fights in there as well, but didn't want to show them all in this one video. This update felt more like a steady incline in difficulty to prepare us for the future 3.0 update, which is likely where the extra hard high rank Apex creatures will play more of a key role. Now, if you have managed to find some time to dig into the 2.0 update, let me know your thoughts on the new content, and also let me know what you think of the overall challenge. As always, this has been Alex from Boomstick Gaming, and thanks for checking this out. I'll see you soon.